Hey there, We Can't Wrestle podcast listeners. If you haven't noticed, we have switched our server to Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So go ahead, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Highly recommended by me and everybody else here at the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the We Can't Wrestle podcast, a modern product edition for February 1st, 2019. Nate and Kyle here with you, and welcome to the show. Kyle, how's it going out there on this snowy evening in Ohio?
Okay. Have you ever been to a restaurant and you order some drinks and the waiter or the server is bringing them back? And he slips on a piece of ice, and he's tumbling around with all the drinks. And you think maybe, just maybe, he's going to pull it off and not tumble and spill over.
Yeah.
But he does anyways?
Yes.
That's WWE's booking right now. You think that they're going to be like, oh, they'll recover. And then they fucking fall flat on their ass.
And then they fall flat on their ass. So I guess we'll...
I'm not talking about the Rumble. I'm talking about SmackDown.
Yeah.
And Raw. Wait.
We will start. I do want to tell the listeners good news. It appears that this weekend we are going to be doing a classic edition of the show, so stay tuned for that. The man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, Aaron will be back in the saddle, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna do. I let him know we're going to do the dream card thing that you and I were talking about. So, 8 match. It'll be each host will get to do a card of 8 matches, an 8-match card, any wrestlers, any era, and just build the best card that you can possibly think of, and we'll discuss that. And then we'll definitely discuss some other stuff too. I'm sure everybody will have something, but. Classic edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast recording this weekend, folks. So stay tuned. But yeah, we're gonna let's start with the Rumble, and then we'll move on from there.
I'm sorry if I sound a little. I'm kind of sick, but I taped it up and we're going.
It is going around.
Yeah,
it is going around.
Especially yesterday when. Fucking negative 45.
Yeah, my son's been sick for like a week, so there's definitely something going around. Luckily, knock on wood, I haven't gotten it. What I will say, and I know we're getting off topic here, we were going to start talking, but you ever heard of the product called Airborne?
Yeah.
I take 1 Airborne a day, and I get sick about once a year. I really do believe that it's good for your immune system, and it's like all natural stuff too. It's not a bunch of garbage. So just a recommendation to anybybody out there. Airborne did not pay me for that endorsement.
I might have to try it.
I'm just
then again, it's hard to be in a shitty mood and complain when your cat only has one testicle and got cut off.
The one nut wonder.
Just for one nut. He watched.
But you know what? He don't give a fuck.
Him, Senior One Nut, the fat cat and Skeletor hung out with us and watched the Rumble.
Watch the Royal Rumble. My 3 cats. and my wife just looked at her phone. But anyway, the Rumble.
She made some awesome buffalo chicken dip, though.
Indeed.
That stuff was the bomb.
We will continue to enjoy that at every pay-per-view now.
And then I bombed the toilet. because beer and buffalo chicken dip does
It
wonders.
does wonders for your colon, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does.
Talk about a detox. So the Rumble I thought was a decent Rumble this year. I really think that, to be honest, the storytelling and everything with the women highly outrated the men this time around.
I think your wife even mentioned it was like, wow, you guys must be really into this because
Yeah, nobody's
we,
talking, nobody's
yeah.
laughing, nobody's, yeah.
I mean, imagine that they had a story throughout the entire show,
Mm-hmm.
and it did well.
Go figure.
Yeah. How about that? That's why I said it. It was like, oh wow, maybe WWE's got their head out of their ass, and they're
But yeah, the women's Rumble starting. I mean, you can almost say that the women's Rumble started during the Becky Asuka match. But
yeah.
starting from that match and moving into the women's Rumble, I thought that the show that was overall a good Rumble, and the story in the Rumble was good, and overall I was satisfied with what happened there. And actually, Ronda Rousey probably had the best match she's had with Sasha Banks as well.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I like the fact the story started on the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
And made it feel like, hey, you got to watch this pre-show because something might happen.
It's kind of like that old thing they did, storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah.
During the
surprise.
You know, that was one of the good things I think about. That's one of the things you can say positive about the Attitude Era. Like, you would have, I'm just going to use as an example, but you would have a Monday Night Raw episode where they would tell a story through the whole show, and then it would culminate at the end. And I'm going to use as an example one of my favorite Raws of all time, the Steve Austin Bret Hart ambulance angle. They throughout the night with Steve Austin and Bret Hart, they told that story, and it built. And they did so many of those during the McMahon Austin era too. And that pay-per-view with the women did just that. It told a story throughout the show, and hey, go figure, it was really entertaining.
Yeah. Like I said, I enjoyed the Royal Rumble. I thought it was great. I think the only match that I really kind of on the actual show itself that I kind of was like, was the AJ Styles Daniel Bryan match.
Yeah, and I think that was just more because we've seen it so many times now, and
coming off of the Women's Rumble.
Mm-hmm. And they, it was time for that to end.
Yeah.
And then the men's Rumble this year, kind of lackluster.
Yeah, they really didn't use any legends except for Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, no big surprises. Which, by the way, Jeff Jarrett apparently has signed on as a backstage producer.
That's what I saw.
And apparently
good for Jeff.
Apparently that's the role that Abyss and Sanjay Dutt are going to play too. So
really,
yes.
Huh.
I would have liked to see, like I was saying on last week's show, I would actually not have minded seeing Abyss in NXT.
He might be down there for a while. They might have him just do some stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the Rumble match itself didn't have a lot of surprises. Not that the match was bad; it had some decent spots, and it's just kind of one of those years, I guess, where the obvious is the obvious. You didn't get your, like last week where I was trying to act like I knew what the fuck I was talking about with a surprise from Batista and all that, and then Seth Rollins just wins, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, and I got to thinking about that after it, because in my mind I was like, oh, the Rumble was kind of lame this year. No big surprises and blah, 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 blah. And I kind of knew who was going to win and et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, really, WWE has made it that over the past decade or so. But if you think back to 98, or '95 or even 2002 when Triple H came back. I mean, those Rumbles didn't have legends, surprise entrants. Those Rumbles had fairly predictable wins, where the guy who you were rooting for, the babyface or whatever, won the Rumble. So it isn't necessarily. It's kind of like you have a hamburger and it's got pickles and mustard on it. You're like, damn, I love this hamburger. But then you get the next hamburger and it's got cheese and bacon and lettuce and tomato and mustard and ketchup and 2 beef patties and sesame seed bun, and then you're like, wow, this is a really good burger. Now, see, that burger you had before wasn't terrible. It was actually really good, but now you got this burger with all this shit on it, and you'll never want to go back.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing. They've built the Rumble into this thing where people expect surprises and et cetera, et cetera. So when they have a year where it's more of a simple bare bones Rumble, it seems underwhelming, even though it was probably a decent match.
Well, it was decent. I think I enjoyed the women's better just because you had a lot more NXT stars.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot more stars from the Mae Young Classic. And I think it was their time to shine where they really got the chance to, show what they could do. It's like, fuck, we've already seen what Kofi Kingston can do. We've already seen,
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it was a foregone conclusion that Seth Rollins was going to win.
Yeah.
And, I think the fun thing with the Women's Rumble is like, all right, Becky, we all thought Becky was going to win, so how are they going to pull this off?
Right. And they did a good job with it. So I guess, well, other than that, there was the tag team match with the Bar against McMahon and Shane McMahon and The Miz, which I don't mind Shane McMahon and The Miz going over. I think the only problem I have with it is I don't think that Shane McMahon should have been the one getting the cover, getting the pinfall on Cesaro.
Well, Nate, he's the best wrestler in the world.
He's the greatest in the world.
He won the World Cup.
Jesus.
Look, I understand Shane McMahon, but goddamn.
And
the thing that I thought was funny was the fact that, did you see what not Dave Meltzer, but the other
Wade Keller?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Wade Keller. He's like, God damn, Jeff Jarrett had the best punches of anybody in the Rumble.
And then other than that, just Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar had a nice little match.
I was on the edge of my seat. I thought they were gonna do it, but they didn't. But like I said, Finn looked really strong.
He did. And now moving on to something not as strong, we move to Raw the night after. So we're beginning the road to WrestleMania on this Raw. And the first thing that popped out to me was how very, very matter-of-fact Seth Rollins' victory was over Dean Ambrose. But then the news comes out, and I guess we'll just talk about it now. Dean Ambrose is leaving WWE after WrestleMania.
Well, see, now here's the thing. Is it a work? Is it true? I mean, if it's true, because that's the problem. You never really can tell.
Right.
And like I said, it's show business. It's wrestling. I'm sorry, I hate to break everybody's hearts right here, right now, but any of those shoot interviews that you people watch and go, oh, that was real. They're fucking working you.
Yeah, that's what they do.
It's a fucking business where they work you.
So if the news is true, which I had heard in the past that Dean has not been particularly happy with his creative lately. But if the news is true, do you see Dean Ambrose, because Dean Ambrose is not going to Ring of Honor. Do you see Dean Ambrose going to AEW or New Japan?
I would almost say AEW, but like I said, is it one of those things where him going to AEW is gonna fuck over Renee?
Right.
Are they gonna hold a grudge against her because he went to AEW?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it will depend on if he feels like. I don't think he's going to New Japan. I mean, he could, but I don't know. I see him taking some time off.
Because the word, and this is all speculation. This is all people who are talking to people in the industry, but whether or not those people in the industry are giving them a straight story or not, you don't know. There are words that there are at that time when it was announced that Dean Ambrose was going to be leaving. They said that there were at least 5 other stars that have considered it. Well, then the next day, Hideo Itami requests and is granted his release, and he's out. Which he's one of the biggest missteps they've ever made. The guy was such a talent. As Kenta in New Japan, I thought he was fantastic. When he came to WWE, I was so excited. And I know that he got, when he was in NXT, he got a reputation for being a little injury prone because he was out a couple of times with an injury. But
that pisses me off when people are like, "Oh, he's injury prone and everything." Like you can fucking the shit happens,
right?
And it just ends up sometimes happening to somebody more and more. And, it's also one of those things that I'm sure that they're trying to rush to get back because they don't want to lose their spot.
Right.
Don't fucking call me.
And the more fit you get, the more prone to injury you are because your muscles are tighter. They're more likely to, you know what I'm saying?
Right. If anybody's fucking injury prone, it's Triple H.
For sure.
I mean, goddamn, he can't wrestle a match without tearing a fucking quad or a bicep off. I mean, you want to talk about injury prone? What about Vince McMahon tearing both his fucking quads, getting into the ring,
and sitting in the ring?
Don't fucking throw stones if you live in a glass house.
But the possibility of Ambrose. And possibly, I think that Itami is more likely to go back to Japan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's AEW bound. But if Dean Ambrose or John Moxley or whatever I'm assuming he'd go back to John Moxley if he's leaving WWE. I think he's more likely AEW bound, and that could be a big get for them. I mean, that's like that's like in the 80s. Scooping up, I would say at least it'd be like scooping up Roddy Piper from the WWF.
Yep. I think WWE is stupid to lose him.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it's no fault of his own.
No. He was given shitty creative. I mean, and most of the time he even did well with the shitty creative they gave him. So
it's sad because of course the blame will go on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh well, he couldn't get over. It's like, well, I mean, how much, how good can you fucking do? I'm sorry, Terry Taylor's not my favorite wrestler, but fuck, I mean, how are you supposed to get over as the goddamn Red Rooster?
He's the cock of the walk, pal.
Well, we're fucking Isaac Yankem, DDS. Like, who the fuck thought that was? Oh, yeah, he's a WrestleMania fucking main eventer. Fucking Isaac Yankem, God.
And speaking of burials on Raw, from the Dean Ambrose kind of very matter-of-fact loss to Seth Rollins, which I don't know if if he's leaving after WrestleMania, I don't know if he's wrestling out the rest of his contract and they're going to bury him right and good, or if he's just going to kind of fade off into the sunset and not be seen again. But also the other one that I saw on Monday that really pissed me off because everybody knows how I feel about Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Like, is that Kurt Angle's last fucking match or what? Because, I mean, that was not cool to me.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that Baron Corbin beating Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is, he's basically retired and stuff and everything else. Fine. What pissed me off is now you're gonna fucking strap Baron Corbin. You're gonna take him and fucking weigh down Drew McIntyre.
Right.
Really? Like, God damn it, guys. I want to love you. I want to love WWE. I want to watch it and enjoy it.
But sometimes
it's like an abusive relationship. I just keep coming back. Like, oh, baby, I'll change. Oh, all right.
The one of the cool things about Raw was, to me personally anyway, the Becky Ronda Rousey segment. Now Ronda Rousey got a little flubbed up with her promo, and
at first
she let the crowd get to her. But see, my thing about this program is this is one of those things that's you could have very little in the way of promo, because this is one of those magical wrestling things that comes along. These two that comes along once in a generation. That is magical. Like those two just standing in the ring, just staring at each other, is a magical thing.
And yeah, she stumbled over her words with the promo with Bailey and before, but I gotta say that I truly think that she's up to that with her promo with Becky.
Yes.
Because I'm sitting there watching that, going like, "Fuck, I can't wait for WrestleMania."
Mm-hmm. It's like I said. I mean, it's this. I do not want them to add Charlotte to this match. I cannot stress that enough. It does not need to be a triple threat. Just let Charlotte.
I want to say, oh, they're not stupid, but
let Charlotte and Asuka have a match at WrestleMania again. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Let them have a rematch from last year. Do Charlotte.
Let Asuka finally go over.
Throw Charlotte into the mix after WrestleMania. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to do a triple threat thing after Mania, go ahead. But I think the Mania match needs to be a one-on-one Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey match. That's what the fans want. Just give them what they want.
Well, give them what they want. And let fucking Becky Lynch beat her.
Yeah.
Fucking God. Again, it's not fucking real hard.
It ain't rocket science.
No. But yeah, like I said, I think out of anything in WrestleMania, Becky Lynch versus Ronda is that is what I'm waiting for.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to
that fucking play they're gonna fucking lose their goddamn mind when Becky Lynch comes out.
Yes. It's gonna be if done right, it could be the best WrestleMania moment of at least the past 5 years.
Right.
So, all right. So we already kind of discussed Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin and blah 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 with that. Not Drew McIntyre. I'm not saying blah 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 Drew McIntyre. All I'm saying is, to me, Baron Corbin's a fucking albatross around Drew McIntyre's neck. But
I said what was the last week or the week before? I feel bad for Baron Corbin. No, fuck Baron Corbin. Don't try to get him back over with fucking. Don't fucking bring down Drew McIntyre.
El Hijo de Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
El Hijo de Vampiro. That's what I call Baron Corbin. So, we will now move on to SmackDown.
Oh boy!
So
I got a lot of things to say about the SmackDown.
You got the Becky Charlotte opener. You know, their little promo back and forth, and they had a little fight, and I hope that what that's leading to is maybe like Becky Charlotte at the Elimination Chamber or something. I don't know. I don't want that match at WrestleMania to be a triple threat. And I'm not saying a triple threat wouldn't be a bad match. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, for that match to be what it should be, the WrestleMania main event, it should just be those two women going at it like everybody wants to see. You don't need to throw the fucking gaga of having an extra person in there.
You know as well as I do that the fucking match I thought it was Fastlane, but it's Elimination Chamber because apparently Fastlane is after WrestleMania this year because that makes sense. But apparently, it's Elimination Chamber. I guarantee you they're gonna have Becky versus Charlotte, and if Becky wins, she gets to be in the match.
Right.
And they'll go from there.
And it'll wind up being a fucking triple threat. And again, that is not going to be a bad match. I'm not trying to say, I want the listeners to know, I'm not trying to say that would be a bad match, because it would be a great match. But it's not what should be the main event of WrestleMania. To me, personally. The story you've been telling, to me, personally, just leads to Becky and Ronda. And Charlotte's not in the mix at Mania.
Right.
So then we have the R-Truth thing. So Shinsuke Nakamura should probably be one of those guys that's wanting to quit WWE.
Okay, here's my biggest. Two things that I took away from SmackDown that bugged the shit out of me was this.
Mm-hmm.
Because why are you going to give him the fucking title just to have him lose it the next night? And then, didn't Shinsuke Nakamura cause Rusev to knock Lana off the fucking ring apron? Why? So now he's just like, fuck it. I'm going to be your tag team partner.
Right.
Continuity, people. Come on.
I don't get it. And it's essentially burying Shinsuke, and in a way, kind of burying Rusev too. I think Rusev rebounds better than Shinsuke because Rusev's character isn't as damaged as Shinsuke, or he has a goofy side to him, so he's not as easily damaged as Shinsuke is. But and I'm not even dissing R-Truth. I'm an R-Truth fan. I don't mind seeing R-Truth get a title. But in the way he got it, that's what I'm not cool with. You know?
No.
I mean, he's an awesome veteran. He's been around. He's a loyal employee. He's an entertaining guy. There's a lot of people that have hated on that character over the years, and I actually enjoy the R-Truth character for what it is. I mean, you know, every wrestling show... Here's my thing about R-Truth. Every wrestling show, no matter how serious it is, needs a little levity.
Yep.
R-Truth provides levity in an entertaining way. You know, a lot of the stuff that WWE does that they think is humor isn't funny. I have always found R-Truth to be funny. I think he is levity in a good way. Like, you know, when he was doing the whole crazy thing with little Jimmy, or when he was talking about spiders or any of that. I actually think the guy's a funny guy. He's an entertaining guy. And to give him a title is not a bad thing. It's just the way they went about it this time around.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sorry, but in 2019... R-Truth beating Shinsuke Nakamura, I don't know.
Yep, it's
hard for me to say that.
Yeah, Shinsuke. I hate to say it, but Shinsuke should quit. He should ask for his release. Um, the Usos win the 4-way against New Day, Heavy Machinery, and The Bar to win the #1 contendership for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. So apparently they're going to get a shot at Shane McMahon and The Miz at some point. But in the match, the Usos won't be able to look too good because you got to make Shane look good. But anyway.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, God forbid.
Now I want to move on to SmackDown was kind of a nightmare this week, which is not usually the case. SmackDown's usually the better of the two shows overall. But I will move on to the end of SmackDown and say that I am an absolute huge fan of the quote-unquote sustainable WWE Championship. I think that is so much fun. I'm sorry, I just do. I think it's great.
Real quick before we get there.
Yeah.
There was one other thing that really bugged me.
Oh, okay.
So on Monday Night Raw, we watched as, there's qualifying matches. So who's going to get into the Elimination Chamber?
Right.
For the women's tag team titles. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're going to be in it. Like, wait, what? Why did the women in Raw have to compete?
Right.
And you just
get to say you're in it.
Say so? Like, what? That shit pissed me off.
I'm hoping that turns into something. I'm hoping that I hope they clarify that storyline wise somehow.
But yeah, that bugged the shit out of me. I was like, wait a minute, because I thought it was in SmackDown. It's like, we're not like Raw. We don't just hand people stuff. And then it's like, they just think we just wouldn't know.
Right.
Did you have to give fucking Daniel Bryan, or not Daniel Bryan, but Shane McMahon and The Miz their fucking segment with his dad? Say, oh, finally his dad's fucking proud of him? Oh, not the countless Intercontinental titles. Not the WWE Championship, but now the SmackDown titles. Now his dad's fucking proud of him.
Yeah.
Fuck. But anyways, I'm with you. God, fucking that wood looks real nice on the championship, doesn't it?
Yes, and I think that is such a okay. I have to give Daniel Bryan credit because Daniel Bryan's a vegetarian and he's an environmentalist and et cetera, and he is as good at portraying his reality as a heel as CM Punk ever was. That goddamn sustainable WWE Championship thing, like, I'm marked out for that. I was like, because see, I'm a belt guy. I'm a title guy. So I'm usually not happy when a title belt, just the look of a title gets changed over and over again. I was not happy when they made both the WWE, the Raw and the SmackDown, all the titles look the same. I like belts. I like championship belts, and I think they have prestige and et cetera. But for some reason, with his character, it's kind of like, it's almost like when Stone Cold had the Smoking Skull belt. It's okay to me, because I know when Daniel Bryan loses the title, the new guy is going to get the old belt back.
Yep.
That fucking that shit is like 2019 gimmick awesomeness to me. Totally marked out for that.
Yeah, like I said, I think that it's brilliant what they did. It's smart.
Yeah, a wooden and hemp belt. That's great. And I'm wondering,
and I'll give them credit. I enjoyed on SmackDown. I enjoyed the fact that they came out and said, "Oh, it's going to be," you had the two Jesus, I'm sorry, people I'm sick. But anyways, you had all 6 of the competitors come out and say that they wanted to be in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited for what we're gonna have.
I think it's gonna be a really good Elimination Chamber match.
I like the fact that it makes sense. It's not just, oh well, here's 6 guys just cause.
Right.
You have 6 guys who legitimately all deserve the opportunity to go to WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I was about to say to you. It was like there's nobody in that match that doesn't belong in that match. And there's nobody in that match that's going to bring the match down.
No.
So
no matter who we get, it's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. So we've talked about those shows, and I don't know if you saw the NXT spoilers yet.
No, I haven't. But go ahead, because like I said, it ain't going to stop me from watching it. So.
Oh, yeah, me neither. Apparently, because I want to go through a couple more things. And I know you're not feeling well, so we'll wrap it up.
You're fine. Like I said,
there isn't really a ton more to talk about this week anyway yet. So we'll just roll with these couple of things and then wrap it up for the week because we're gonna have the classic episode on Saturday. But the other couple things I want to talk, the NXT spoilers. Apparently, there could or could not be a new NXT North American champion.
What?
There could or could not be, and this is. I think this is brilliant. You'll know what I'm saying when I'm done talking here. This is brilliant the way they filmed it to kind of trick the fans in the arena or whatever. But apparently, Velveteen Dream beat Johnny Gargano. Okay. And won the title, and the fans obviously big pop, etc., etc. So he's celebrating with the title. That's how the show could go off the air. Or what also happened was after that, Gargano came back to the ring and attacked Velveteen Dream, and then put him in a submission hold, which Velveteen Dream instinctively tapped out to, and then Gargano took the belt up to the top of the ramp and celebrated with Tommaso Ciampa. So for the wrestling fans in the arena, it looked like he came back after the match and was gloating and stole the title. But what I'm wondering is, are they just going to edit that and make it look like, did they do that for the fans? Did they do that to trick the fans that were in the arena, just in case of spoilers? I don't know, but so I guess the kind of cool thing about it is when we watch the show, when it finally airs, we still won't actually know what the finish is because they filmed 2 finishes.
That's smart. That's a smart way to...
It's kind of like on the Raw taping before WrestleMania 10, or no, before SummerSlam 93, the Raw taping or the Superstars taping where they had Lex Luger go out and run around the ring with the championship belt.
Yep.
And just to see how people would react to it. But yeah, that happened apparently tonight at the NXT tapings. So other than that, it looks like it was a decent taping. But the cool thing about NXT right now is lots of new talent in NXT. They're going through one of those times where it's new people, and I kind of like that. I like it when this new, fresh talent. Like, I'm a big fan of that guy, Fabian Eichner, and I can't remember his tag team partner's name off the top of my head, but they formed a tag team, and I think that this is one of those cool times for NXT where they're kind of in a transition period, so you're seeing newer people come up. So... And then the last thing that I wanted to bring up, and then if you have anything, you can shoot it out there. But I was reading today, and this is according to Dave Meltzer, who is Meltzer's a polarizing figure because he really is a lot of the time a good source of information, but He's also a lot of time full of shit, so we'll see. But according to Meltzer, as far as money goes and negotiations for after WrestleMania, WWE, UFC, and AEW are on Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar's radar.
Really?
Because Khan has a lot of money. Like, if they would have said, if I would have read that, TNA was going after Brock Lesnar or ROH was going after Brock Lesnar, I'd be like, what the fuck ever. None of them are ever going to be able to give up the kind of money Vince McMahon would give to give Brock Lesnar, or for that matter, UFC. But this Tony Khan guy is like Vince McMahon to me, as far as money goes and what the person's willing to spend on talent, Vince hasn't come up to somebody like this guy since Ted Turner.
Yeah.
Like this guy and his dad have a lot of fucking money that they can throw towards somebody, They're not chump change like Anthem Sports or whatever.
Sorry. It's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. This is, and I said this, a few weeks, I don't know, maybe like a month or so ago or 2 months ago when we were going out of 2018 and coming into 2019. And I'm telling you, with WWE moving to Fox and the moves the AEW's making, and I mean, to be perfectly honest, the AEW doesn't even have a TV show yet, and they are making a difference for WWE, because I honestly don't think that if AEW was not on the spectrum of things, I don't think Dean Ambrose says I'm not re-signing. I don't think Hideo Itami asks for his release. These are things that would not have happened 2 years ago.
Well, and here's the big thing. Can you imagine if Brock Lesnar signs with AEW?
Be insane. Insane. We've got a new Monday Night War on our hands. I mean, it's 2019 is going to be a hell of a fucking year in wrestling. WWE's got to move. They're moving to Fox, which means number one, they're going to have to step it up anyway, because Fox is going to ask for. I mean, Fox is paying a lot for this show, so they're going to ask for stellar entertainment and a stellar show, and then on top of that, Vince McMahon performs no better than when he is backed up against a wall. When he has competition, and I mean, you could see even if Triple H doesn't take over, we've all been begging for Triple H to take over eventually, but even at 70-something years old, if Vince McMahon is backed up against a corner, his juices might start flowing again. I mean, the potential for this year is absolutely amazing. If you're a wrestling fan right now, don't give up. I'm telling you. Because this year and 2019, especially, I think the back half of 2019 and the beginning of 2020 is going to be a fucking amazing time to be a wrestling fan.
It is 1996 right now.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we are about to head into 97 where shit gets good.
Just hold on a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think the back half of this year, you give it another few months, maybe like June or July, things are going to amp up, especially after Double or Nothing, and you really see what AEW is working with and what's going on, and after WrestleMania, when some of these contracts like a Brock Lesnar, etc., expire, AJ Styles is coming up soon. To see what's going to happen, I think, in the back half of this year is going to be It's going to be exciting. It's going to be like you said, it's going to be the most exciting since the mid '90s in wrestling. And we as fans are going to reap the benefits.
Oh yeah. For people who are watching and wasn't around in the Attitude Era or when the Monday Night Wars happened, you have no idea what you're in for.
Yeah. How awesome it is to be a wrestling fan when they're, and that I think about that sometimes, how crazy it is that, like, fans that are like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old now, even up to 25 years old, because they would have been small children, they have no idea what it's like to be in a world where there are two really legit large competing wrestling promotions. They have no idea what it's like, because all they know is a world where it's just WWE and then all the other guys.
Yep.
To watch WWE and anybody else compete against each other is a thing of magnificence.
TNA is not a substitute for WWE.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you youngins that listen to this show, Ring of Honor's cool, New Japan's all right, MLW, I'm a big fan, TNA's whatever. You have not seen WWE against a competitor. I'm sorry, I don't mean to dog. If one of those promotions is your favorite promotion, I don't mean to dog it, but you haven't seen where there are two major big dog professional wrestling organizations competing against each other. It is the most amazing thing you'll ever see as a fan, because all those promotions are trying to do is literally suck your balls.
Yep.
That's what they're doing.
Please watch us. Don't watch them.
Right. Absolutely. It's the best. It's just the best. So I'm excited about it. I think we're probably gonna have to sit through a few more months of stagnation of the same thing we've gone through for the past decade. But I really do think that the back half of 2019 is going to be hot shit in wrestling.
Well, even if we have to sit through some shit from the next couple, at least we got WrestleMania.
Yes.
Coming up,
yeah.
And then we've
got we've got WrestleMania. So even if it is WWE, current WWE, it's at least going to be WWE at its best. So I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I keep talking about it. I keep telling people, just wait. I know you got to have patience, but just wait. But it's gonna be great.
Just think, for all them people who watch wrestling, it's like, imagine, right now where wrestling is like, you watch pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was for us, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what's with the Stone Cold guy, and what's with DX?
Yeah, we're wrestling fans, and then come a couple of years later, we think everybody else are a bunch of posers for wearing an Austin 316 shirt, because we're like, fuck you, I like that shit long before you did. I like wrestling when it's in the shits.
You're like,
real wrestling fans stick through some terrible fucking shit, man.
Yeah.
We really do. We sift through some terrible shit to get to the good stuff.
Fucking Mo? What's your favorite Mo match?
How about Mabel in the SummerSlam main event?
Yeah, what's your favorite fucking Mabel match?
How about that Abe Knuckleball Schwartz?
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Well, unless you have anything, I think we've covered everything for this week. We can wrap her up.
All right.
So, like I said, folks, this weekend we are going to be taping a classic edition of the show. We're the three of us will be together hosting the show, talking about classic wrestling, and we want you to stay tuned for that. I think we're recording that Saturday night, so I should have it up Sunday, early Monday. And other than that, Kyle, you got anything to say to listeners before we sign off?
No, just mark my words. Aaron hasn't been on for a while, so he's probably going to be unfiltered.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like a 4.5 hour show.
Yeah, Lord knows what he's going to be talking about, and so yeah, like I said, definitely check that one out.
All right, we will see you with that, and this show will be up, obviously. This is February the 1st. It will be up on February the 1st, so we want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you next week on the modern edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast, and we will see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.